extraordinarily interesting to me. As a lawyer for a hospital for many years, I obviously became extremely familiar with the standard of care for doctors. So Dr. Mello, where would you put AI? Were you on the witness stand and we were asking you if the doctor involved in the malpractice case could have, used AI, and go both directions on it. They did use it and it turned out wrong, or they didn't use it and it turned out wrong. Tell me where you think it fits.
Thank you. It's an important question. And although I'm not a medical doctor, I'm a scholar of medical malpractice law. And we know that in malpractice law, reasonableness of action is always the lodestar, even more so than custom, what your colleagues would have done.
I thought it was who the lawyers were that was generally the determinant. Never mind, go ahead.
So the question is, when is it reasonable for a physician to depart? And the problem with being able to answer that question in a courtroom is that physicians are provided with so little information by the tool that enables them to understand whether its recommendation, which makes sense at a group level, applies well to this particular patient. So that's why I think there needs to be shared liability between physicians, hospitals, and developers, because sometimes the errors that doctors make as a result of output could not reasonably have been foreseen by them and therefore are not unreasonable for the physician.
Let's take it back to a point that was made earlier in the testimony you folks have given today, and that was the lack of accountability or the promise by those who are providing AI that is going to work or that it meets certain standards. Don't you think that the law that you and I are now discussing, these standards, don't you think that it creates some sort of accountability for those who are creating these AI systems?
Well, the difficulty will be, as you'll understand as a hospital attorney, that when you contract away that responsibility at the licensing stage, it eliminates a lot of avenues for recovery. And many of these licensing agreements that hospitals are now executing with developers have disclaimers up and down that hospitals have to accept in many cases.
So are you suggesting that we do something about that here at the congressional level, that we say that's not something that they should be able to do?
I don't understand why AI is treated differently from other products where we don't allow makers to disclaim ordinary warranties. Why should that be? And if the answer is there isn't a good reason for treating it differently, then we ought to treat it the same.
Thank you. I want to shift to Mr. Toy. And you indicated, or someone, forgive me, because it's been a long time since I've been waiting to ask my questions. I may have confused who it was that said what. But at what point do you think that the human becomes less analytically able than AI? Do you see that in the next 2 years, 10 years? When?
I think that it depends on what kind of reasoning and what kind of information. Like, I think humans are already, the AI is probably already better at searching a large corpus of data and finding something like relevant to show to a human being. So searching through data, I think AI is very, very good at that. I think you asking about reasoning in particular, I do not think that most human thinking will be replaced by AI anytime soon. I think that what will be replaced will be more perfunctory kind of tasks, and that's where we should be focused right now.
Thank you. Dr. Wright, you said a phrase I thought was very interesting. Personal connections make us who we are. I have all these younger adults coming into my office, and I ask them how many hours they're spending on their cell phones. And it runs, frankly, the average is about 12 hours a day. It's frightening. I would just ask you if you think algorithms have now replaced the human connection. And if so, isn't this kind of a wish that we go back to some previous time, which I see unlikely? So where do you think this human connection, this personal connection is going to come from now that, haven't we given it away?
It's a really interesting question. I would argue no, that we have not given it away. I think that what makes relationships unique are the reciprocity of it. There is no reciprocity when it comes to AI. That's partly why people like it, because they don't have to care about the AI and give back. But that's not a genuine relationship. And it does not build true intimacy. AI knows things, but it doesn't understand. It doesn't understand you or why.
So I agree with all that. What are we going to do about it?
I think we need to be much more intentional about AI literacy and technology literacy within schools. I think we need to train parents. I think that we need to incorporate AI literacy and the impact it can have developmentally within healthcare. I think we need to have public campaigns helping people understand how to use these tools appropriately and when to walk away.
And I very much appreciate your testimony and the entire panel's very interesting. Yield back.